Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Charlie State and Naga Manchetti.
Our headlines today. It's GCSE results day for more than 500,000 pupils. They're expected to achieve record results.
Fierce fighting rages across Afghanistan amid warnings of a humanitarian disaster.
We'll talk to the boss of Boohoo about fast fashion and the use of cheap labour.
Good morning. It went to penalties, but Chelsea are champions of Europe again. They raised the trophy in Belfast after beating Villarreal to win the Super Cup and got their season off to the best possible start.
Italy says it's recorded the hottest temperature ever in Europe, 48.8 degrees centigrade on the island of Sicily.
Good morning. Today, for many of us, it's going to be dry with some sunshine, a bit more cloud at times in the south with the odd spot of drizzle, and later some heavy showers coming in across Scotland and Northern Ireland. I'll have all the details in about 25 minutes.
Good morning. It's Thursday, the 12th of August. Our main story this morning. More than 500,000 students in England, Wales and Northern Ireland will receive their GCSE results this morning, with record results predicted.
For the second year running, the grades have been based on teachers' assessments after the exams were cancelled. Our education correspondent Elaine Dunkley has more.
So I had one exam and then the rest was coursework.
Molly is doing a BTEC in business. She's one of hundreds of thousands of students who will receive GCSE and vocational qualifications today. But the pandemic hasn't just had an impact on her education, it's brought personal tragedy and loss.
Unfortunately, I lost my step-granddad and my dad in May and June. So yeah, it's just been like really tough. Anything for me, just being a pass is gonna like really make me obviously happy, but if I get anything better than a pass, then considering the year I've had, I'm going to be extremely happy with myself.
Wow. Replacing traditional exams with teacher-assessed grades has brought many challenges and some criticism. Last year saw a record rise in pupils getting top grades in their GCSEs. But this head teacher says talk of further grade inflation this year is unhelpful.
They sat a number of assessments that had to show a typicality of their performance over all of those assessments and over a wider body of work as well. And I think to take anything away from our young people today is unfair, and it discredits the huge amount of work that's been put in by them, their families and their teachers to get them through what's been an incredibly challenging time.
The government says students were assessed only on what they have been taught, and it's given them the best possible chance to show what they can do. But there is concern that today's results will show a further widening of inequalities.
We know from all the research we've done that it's hit the poorest students the hardest, because they have overall had less access to learning, less access to teaching than their better off peers. And there's a whole range of reasons for that, but some of them are around access to a quiet place to study, access to a good internet connection, access to a laptop so they could take part in the home learning.
Molly, like many, is hoping today will bring some relief, the chance to celebrate in a year that has brought so many challenges. Elaine Dunkley, BBC News.
Yes, just looking ahead to 7:30 this morning, speaking to the Schools Minister, Nick Gibb. So if you're one of those who's waiting for the results this morning after the work you've been doing, or parent, and you have a question about how this all pans out, how it works, do get in touch this morning. Nick Gibb, 7:30 this morning.
Now, intense street-by-street fighting is still going on in Kandahar, which is the latest Afghan city to come under attack from the Taliban.
The insurgents have captured 9 provincial capitals over the past few days. The government has sacked its army chief. The White House said it's monitoring the situation, but it's up to Afghan leaders to find a solution.
We are closely watching the deteriorating security conditions in parts of the country, but no particular outcome, in our view, is inevitable. We will continue to coordinate airstrikes with and in support of Afghan forces, and as the President made clear, Afghan leaders have to come together, and the future of the country is really on their shoulders.
Let's talk now to our correspondent, Yogita Limai, who's in the Afghan capital of Kabul. Yogita, I suppose we should start with Kabul itself and how this is being targeted, and there's much speculation about Taliban forces moving closer in terms of control.
Well, firstly, the fallout of the surge in violence that we're seeing all over the country, we're now able to see that prominently in Kabul as well. Yesterday, we were in the north of the city where literally by the hour there were more and more people who've been displaced by the fighting coming in. We saw thousands ourselves. All of them have just come in over the past 2 or 3 days, carrying very few belongings. People who had homes and jobs and full lives who were forced to suddenly leave everything behind. And on the ground, we couldn't see enough humanitarian support for them. Hardly any food, hardly any water, no sanitation facilities. Yesterday, the US media were reporting intelligence officials telling them that the capital, Kabul, could fall between 30 to 90 days. And that's something which has shocked a lot of people here. It is unexpected, but also just what we've seen over the past week, the pace at which the Taliban are moving forward in this country, extremely unexpected as well.
And Yogita, obviously, we've heard the comments from President Biden and, of course, that press conference that we were hearing there. The United States firmly stepping away, leaving responsibility now to the Afghan government while there is still concern. I think it's the head of the Afghan army that has been dismissed.
That's right, and that would be in the forefront of President Ashraf Ghani. Up until now, they've had significant air support from the US, and it's unclear whether that will continue after the end of August, when all international troops withdraw from here. Morale among Afghan troops is low because in some areas they weren't given ammunition, they weren't paid, they weren't even given food supplies. Ashraf Ghani knows that he needs to change that. Yesterday he was in Mazar-e-Sharif, which is a hugely significant economic center for Afghanistan, trying to rally pro-government forces together against the Taliban.
Yogita, thanks very much. Yogita Limai there for us in Kabul.
New Zealand's borders are to remain closed until at least the end of the year to prevent the spread of coronavirus. A phased reopening could happen in 2022, with vaccinated travellers being allowed to enter if they've come from countries classed as low risk. New Zealand's Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, says the priority is vaccinating the population by the end of this year.
It's been exactly 30 years since the Dangerous Dogs Act came into force, but campaigners and charities say the law needs a complete overhaul. 4 breeds can currently be seized by police and either put down or kept under strict conditions. The government says it's commissioned research on the effectiveness of existing dog control measures.
The highest temperature ever recorded in Europe is believed to have been registered in Italy.
A reading from the island of Sicily registered 48.8 degrees Celsius yesterday. And it comes, of course, as countries across the Mediterranean continue to battle high temperatures and wildfires. Aruna Iyengar has this report.
The pine forests of Giarratana in Sicily searing in heat as temperatures top 48 degrees. Hot winds are stoking the flames. Residents of this old town can only watch and wonder.
Our small town was invaded by fire. It is a catastrophe. The entire Californo Park and the surrounding area went up in flames.
Fueled by the hot weather, fires have erupted across southern Europe in recent weeks. Southern Italy, Greece, Turkey and Algeria have been particularly hard hit. Italy is baking in the so-called Lucifer heat wave. TV bulletins report that 15 cities will be on red alert this Friday. That means the heat is so intense it's a danger to health for people of all ages. Here in Evia, Greece's second biggest island, the fires have left livestock herds decimated. Nearly 100,000 hectares of forests and farmland have burned in less than 2 weeks in the worst wildfire since 2007. But the fires still burn. In Evia, help has arrived from overseas. These fire crews are from Slovakia. In the Peloponnese in the west, this is the aftermath of a fire in Gortynia. Turkey has also been hit by its most intense fires on record. 240 blazes have been brought under control in the last 2 weeks. In Algeria, 3 days of national mourning have been declared after firefighters, soldiers and civilians died whilst battling blazes. The high temperatures has helped the spread of the fires, but authorities here suspect arson after so many fires erupted in a short space of time. Scientists say human-induced climate change is making heat waves more likely and more severe. Aruna Iyengar, BBC News.
Now, if you've ever been tempted to ignore a road sign, here's some footage that should, perhaps, make you think twice. Before we show it to you, don't worry, everything turned out OK.
So, yes, you can probably work it out just there. It's a Cadillac. It was entirely submerged when its driver ignored closure barriers and drove straight into a serious sinkhole. This is in the state of Maryland. Crews were on the scene of a water main break that caused a huge hole when the SUV dodged the barriers and just ended in the water, as you can see. It's actually quite a scary image there, isn't it?
The thing that confuses me, right, if you dodge or ignore a road sign, you know, when sometimes it says road closed and you know it's your road and you know it, you can get down a certain part of the road, right? If you see a road closed sign and then you go through, surely you'd be looking to see why have they closed the road. How do you miss that in front of you?
Well, because he'd ignored all the signs saying...
So he just wasn't looking full stop?
Well, he'd made a decision that he was going to drive just... apparently, no,
He's
I say
fine.
do we know it was a man or
fine.
woman? The
We
driver was not injured, so that's good. But, yeah, that's an extreme version of something that we've all done, as it were, or not done. 11 minutes past 6.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.